welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you found your way here or back here, and to all the mothers or whatever, happy Mother's Day. Also, I didn't record yesterday or upload yesterday because I was on the Japan Day in Düsseldorf, so it was really, really cool. But yeah, I'm back with a fanfic. Of course not my own because I can't write fanfics. It's Just Know I'll Remember You Always, by Newt Knight, and in brackets there's orphan_account. I'm not sure who this belongs to because of this, but of course the link to the fan fiction will be in the description below, so you should check it out. You should check out any fic that I read, because they're all really, really good. Leave some love. Okay, let's begin. Izuku Midoriya's room had stars. Those glow-in-the-dark stars that you stuck on the roof and later scrape off because they didn't look the way you imagined it had hoped. Even though they were faded and lost their previous greenish-yellow color, they were still there. Izuku Midoriya's room was a sight to behold. The glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling had lost their luster, and many had fallen off over time, but Izuku refused to let them go away. Whenever one of the stars fell down, he would carefully pick it up and stick it back onto the ceiling with a piece of tape. There was something comforting about the faded stars, like they were old friends who had been through everything with him. Even though they didn't shine as bright as they once did, they still provided a sense of magic and wonder in his otherwise ordinary room. As he lay in bed at night, staring up at the stars above him, Izuku couldn't help but feel grateful for their presence. They reminded him that even when things seemed dark and dull, there was always a little bit of light to be found if you look hard enough. When Izuku looked around his room, he usually noticed that it was quite cluttered, as there were piles of books and papers scattered across the desk and floor, along with various hero figurines and posters adorning the walls. Despite the mess, there was a sense of comfort in the chaos. It was clear that this room belonged to someone who had a passion for heroes and their world. In one corner of the room sat a small bookshelf filled to the brim with hero biographies and training manuals. In another corner stood a set of weights for Izuku's daily workout routine. Overall, it was a cozy space that reflected Izuku's dedication to become a hero himself one day. Nevertheless, he loved the stars the most. He had put them up when he and Bakugo were still on friendly terms. With the help of his mom, he still remembered that day, with his smile and laughter. It was his birthday, and his mom invited over the Bakugos. To celebrate, they spent the day playing hero video games and eating cake. As a gift, Bakugo had given Izuku a set of glow-in-the-dark stars to put up in his room. Izuku smiled as he remembered that day. He and Bakugo had worked together to create a starry sky on his ceiling, laughing and joking as they stuck the stars up with tape. It was one of the last happy memories they shared before their friendship fell apart. Even though their friendship had since fractured, Izuku couldn't bring himself to take down those stars. They served as a reminder of happier times and the dreams they once shared together. And who knows, maybe one day they could make new memories under those same stars again. He doubted it. Bakugo hardly looked at him anymore. When he does, it's usually glare or a harsh look with deep anger underneath. As Izuku sat on his bed, staring up at the stars on his ceiling, he couldn't help but feel a sense of longing. He wanted to get back to the way things used to be. He missed the days when he and Bakugo would talk about their favorite heroes and watch All Might fight together. But now, it seemed like they were worlds apart. Izuku knew that Bakugo's anger towards him stemmed from his lack of a quirk. It wasn't his fault. He was born without a quirk. Yet every time he saw him, he felt like it was. Like he had pissed off God in his past life, and it was his punishment as a result. Quirkless and his best friend hated him. Despite the heart and frustration he felt towards Bakugo, he couldn't help but feel a little bit of relief as he started to ignore him. When they were younger, Bakugo would always be in his face, yelling and threatening him. Now it was like he didn't even exist. Izuku knew that inviting Bakugo's over for dinner like they did every year for his birthday would only lead to more tension and awkwardness between them. He didn't want to put himself or his mother in any difficult situation, so he asked her not to invite them. Izuku woke up on his 13th birthday to a missed call from his father. It wasn't unusual for him to forget, but it still stung. His mother did her finest to make up for it, cooking him his favorite breakfast and giving him a new hero-themed notebook to write in. They spent the day together watching hero movies and eating cake. It was enjoyable, but Izuku couldn't help but feel the absence of his father's presence. As he turned in to bed that night, he looked up at the glow-in-the-dark stars on his ceiling and tried not to think about how alone he felt. He wished he could talk to Bakugo about it, but their friendship was long over. All he had left were memories of happier times, and the stars reminded him of them. It was difficult to admit, but Izuku had come to the realization that their friendship may never be the same again. He couldn't help holding on to false hope and pretending like everything was okay between them. As much as it hurt, it was time for him to move on and focus on his own goals of becoming a hero. And who knows, maybe one day Bakugo would come around and they could recoil. But until then, Izuku needed to let go of the past and look towards the future. Yet he still had photos of memories that he was too young to remember. He was told that Bakugo was his best friend, that they were inseparable, and that they were always found together. Whenever that being, Mitsuki brought him round to when he was babysat by Masaru. Izuku had a photo of him, Bakugo, when they were 5 years old. It was taken on the day his mother took them to the park for a picnic. They were both wearing matching outfits that she had bought, much to Bakugo's dismay. Clearly, Izuku was not satisfied with the outfit despite his small smile and Bakugo's scowl. Another showed them baking flour somehow all over the sides and their hair and all over their clothes. However, this picture it had both of them grinning. He had asked his mom for this picture, and it now sits framed on his desk. The last one was of the two of them at a beach. They were both wearing swimming trunks and had their arms around each other laughing. It was taken shortly before Izuku found out he didn't have a quirk. This reminded him of how close they used to be before Bakugo's cruel words started to change everything. Izuku still vividly remembers the day when Bakugo's cruelty turned into physical. They were 7 years old and playing a game of tag when Bakugo accidentally injured him. It was a small scratch, but it left a lasting impact on Izuku. It was the moment he realized that Bakugo's anger towards him wasn't just because he was quirkless, but because he saw him as weak and worthless. From then on, Izuku tried to distance himself from Bakugo, but it proved difficult since they went to the same school and lived in the same neighborhood. Even as their friendship fractured, Izuku couldn't help but hold onto the memories of happier times. The glow-in-the-dark stars Bakugo had given him were a constant reminder of their shared dreams and interests. But now, Izuku sat alone in his room, surrounded by those stars. He couldn't shake off the feeling of hurt and betrayal. Bakugo's cruel words and his actions had profound impact on him, both physical and emotionally. both physically and emotionally. And yet, despite everything, there still was a part of Izuku that longed for their friendship to be mended. Maybe one day they could recoil under those same stars again. However, for now, all he could do was try to move on and heal from the wounds Bakugo had inflicted upon him. It was after this incident that his father told him that Bakugo was just jealous of him. Izuku didn't understand and didn't believe a word he said, because why would Bakugo, with his amazing quirk, be jealous of him? Bakugo had it all, with a powerful quirk, two parents who were fashion designers, and while not worldwide famous, they were well known in the fashion industry. So why would he be jealous of him, a quirkless boy with a distant father who could only offer him missed calls these days, and a mother who seemed to always be giving him pitying looks? As Izuku pondered his conflicted relationship with Bakugo more, he couldn't help but wonder if there was more to their dynamic than just jealousy. Perhaps there were deeper insecurities that Bakugo harbored, or maybe he was struggling with his own expectations and pressure from his parents. Izuku knew firsthand how overwhelming it could be to live up to certain standards, especially in a society where quirks are highly valued. He knew the statistics. The quirkless didn't have a comfortable life. They were often looked down upon, and chances of getting into an excellent school or even finding a job were slim. You would never find them in a school dedicated to heroes. Izuku slumped back, his head hitting the pillow as he stretched out hand up as if he was reaching for the stars. In spite of the fact that their relationship was never going to be perfect, he was still glad he befriended Bakugo at the age of 2. He was glad he had the chance to watch him grow, even knowing he was an asshole most of the time. He couldn't help but allow the smile to grow on his face as he thought about the memories he shared with Bakugo. They may have had their fair share of arguments and fights, but there were also moments of laughter and genuine camaraderie that Izuku cherished. As he lay in bed, staring up at the stars, he couldn't help but feel grateful for those experiences. But now, as he reflected on their current situation, Izuku knew that it was time to move on. He couldn't keep dwelling on what might have been or what could be. Instead, he needed to focus on himself and his own journey towards becoming a hero. Even without a quirk, he was determined to prove himself and make a difference in the world. With renewed determination, Izuku closed his eyes and let out a deep breath. It won't be easy, but he was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. And who knows, maybe one day he and Bakugo would cross paths again and find a way to recoil their differences. But until then, Izuku was content with moving forward and carving out his own path towards greatness. Izuku let out a sigh as he glanced over at his desk, which was now cluttered with assignments and textbooks. It seemed like every day there was more work to be done, more readings to complete, and more tests to study for. He knew that becoming a hero required hard work and dedication, but sometimes it felt like the workload was never ending. As he sat up in bed, Izuku made a mental note to check some of the homework before going to sleep. He knew that putting in effort now would only benefit him in the long run. With a determined mindset, he reached for his notebook and began flipping through pages of notes and equations. And despite feeling overwhelmed at times, Izuku reminded himself that this was all part of his journey towards achieving his goals. He couldn't let the stress get to him or distract him from what really mattered, becoming the best hero he could be. I hope all of you enjoyed, and if you have any suggestions, leave them down in the comments. And also, thank you so much for all of the sweet comments and all of the support. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope you have a wonderful time.